Hello and welcome. This is Jasur from Shanghai Silk Road. In this video, I'd like to talk about one particular problem that you might face as a foreign entrepreneur in China. Now, most of the agencies which help foreigners register their companies, they don't mention this issue while they're talking to you and they are advertising their services. But one of the purposes of our channel is actually to be transparent with our potential clients. So I've decided to talk about this issue openly, and based on this, maybe you can make your decisions. So now, as a foreign entrepreneur, when you're registering your company, most of the time there's no issue with it. Like there are countries that whose citizens cannot register companies in China, but there are only a few of them. Like, for example, citizens of North Korea or citizens of Cuba, for example, or sometimes, citizens of Afghanistan. But, these are only a few countries that, cannot register a company in China. But most of the time, with your citizenship, registering a company is not an issue. The issue I want to talk about is actually related to the corporate bank account and your transactions. Now, depending on your citizenship, banks in China might impose huge restrictions for the operations of your company. And this issue should be discussed with your agency before you make a payment or before you sign a contract with them for company formation. Now, most of the time clients don't know it, and most of the time, unfortunately, agencies do not mention it. So my recommendation for anybody who wants to register a company in China is to make it very clear with your agency that they should speak to the bank they are cooperating with, for example, Bank of China, ICBC, or Agricultural Bank of China, or any bank in China, and ask your agency to make it very clear that you come from this country, for example, and this bank can open a corporate bank account for you. This is number one. And number two, this bank is able to open a foreign currency bank account for your citizenship. And number three, you can transfer funds to personal accounts and to company accounts. Now I'm going to explain all these problems. Sometimes bank impose restriction to open a foreign currency bank account because of your citizenship. So you have to make it very clear with the bank, with your agency, especially before you sign up a contract with them, that you can open a foreign currency bank account, especially when you're doing trading business in China. Because, obviously, if your company is import and export, then if you don't have a foreign currency account in China, how are you going to receive payments from other countries? It's impossible. Sometimes they just open a RMB account, and that's all. This RMB account is only good for trading inside China. Okay, so you have to forget about import and export. So most of the people actually, when foreigners, when they open this trading company, they have this thing in mind, like they want to buy Chinese products from local wholesale markets, and then they want to export most of the time to their own country or to any countries they work with. But imagine if you don't have a foreign currency account, or if you cannot have a foreign currency account, then your trading company is useless, basically. Of course, unless you want to do business only inside China, which is buying and selling in China. So, of course, if that's your purpose, then that's fine. Now, the second problem I mentioned is sometimes foreigners, depending on their citizenship, cannot transfer funds from their company to personal accounts, including their own personal account. This is not good, guys. Because why? As a foreign entrepreneur, as a director of the company, sometimes you want to pay yourself a salary. It's not sometimes, it's actually every month. You want to get salary from your own company. But because of your citizenship and because of this, restrictions from the bank, you cannot transfer funds from your company account to a personal account. And again, this is something you have to be very, very clear with the bank before you go ahead and open an account with them, or before you, speak to this agency or sign an agreement with them. So make sure you clarify it, okay? And number 3, this might also happen. Sometimes, depending on your citizenship, banks might impose some restrictions on the amount of transfer. Now, some time ago, we had a client from Ireland. Ireland is very, developed country. It's in the European Union, and most of the time, we never face any issues with clients from developed countries. But now one of the banks in China, I don't want to mention their name, one of the biggest banks in China, they said, okay, we accept your application, but we can only let you transfer 1,000 yuan per month using your company. And that was just ridiculous. It's good that we spoke to the bank before we went ahead and submitted the application. And of course, the client didn't accept this, restriction, and then we changed the bank to another one. But, what if you are already in this situation? Now, we received this question today, literally, from one of our viewers on YouTube. He's saying that my bank does not let me transfer, funds to my personal account. But if I want to transfer to a Chinese personal account, then it's fine, but I cannot pay myself a salary. What can I do in this situation? Unfortunately, like I said, banks in China here, most of the time, they are not flexible, meaning that this kind of bans are permanent. They're not temporary, unfortunately, because we have had such clients before. We asked the bank before, can you lift this ban or restriction? They said, no, unfortunately, we cannot do anything because this is, this is imposed by our headquarters, and there's nothing much we can do. So in this situation, you have 2 options, basically, like frankly speaking. Number 1 is maybe if you have anybody that you trust, like very close friend or colleague in China, whose citizenship is without a restriction. Now again, in this scenario, you have to speak to the bank. Go ahead and say, okay, I have a friend here. He's from UK, for example, or from United States. I want to make sure that you don't impose any restrictions on him in case I want to change my company's directorship to his name. So this is option number 1. Maybe you consider changing the directorship, like transferring the legal person. In China, if you don't know, director is also called legal person, okay, legal representative of the company. So you can ask the bank, you are considering to change legal representative position, role, from yourself to that close friend, okay, trustworthy friend that you have here. So this is option number 1, okay, and after that your company's transactions will be without any issues, and you can transfer funds to your personal account as an employee of the company. So in this scenario, basically you have to change positions, okay, you change the directorship to your friend, and then because the company's corporate bank account is under the name of the director. Okay, director is the signatory at the bank in China. So that's the reason why you consider changing the directorship to another person. And you can take up the position of somebody else, okay, depending on your qualifications, maybe, general manager or, anybody that you can appoint as. So that's fine. Now, after that, you can receive salary, and etc. The business goes as usual. But scenario number 2 that we offer, you can start another company outside of China, and the country we've been actually advertising and talking about is the United States. And this is especially for those who are not from the US, okay, and who are not from the countries of FATCA, okay. So if you're from, for example, African continent, or maybe you're from Asian, some of the Asian countries, then you might consider this. Obviously, in this situation, we're talking about the countries with restrictions in corporate bank account in China, okay, just like the restrictions I explained here earlier. So if you're facing this kind of issue, you are most likely from one of those countries, unfortunately, underdeveloped, or from most likely from one of the African countries. Unfortunately, this is the case, guys. So if you are one of them, then you might consider opening a company in the US. We can actually help you do that. We can register a company in the US for you. We can open a corporate bank account and for your company, and this corporate bank account comes without any restrictions, irrespective of your nationality. So if you do that, like for example, you have a company in China and it's got restrictions, but later you can register a company in the US. So for example, if you are receiving payments from your clients, abroad, you can give your US company account, they can make a payment there, and then your US company can transfer the funds to your China account. So, and also you can transfer any funds you want to your personal account from the US as well, without any restrictions. So okay guys, this is something that I wanted to share with you, and based on this information, maybe you can talk to your agency before you actually sign up a contract with them. And if you contact us for company formation in China, we always ask your country of citizenship, and then we talk to the banks and we make sure that the banks can help you with the corporate bank account and without any restrictions. If there are any restrictions, we're going to inform you. This is how we work with our clients, and like I said, 100% transparency. And if there are any restrictions, like I said, we always recommend that you open a company from abroad, okay? It can be Singapore, it can be Hong Kong, but unfortunately with Singapore and Hong Kong, there are always issues with opening a bank account. Therefore, we really recommend United States, because in the US, we can open a corporate bank account from distance. Okay guys, with this, I'm going to finish this video. If you have any questions, you can leave in the comment section below or send us an email. I'll be happy to hear from you. So see you guys in the next videos.